Hey there, it's JohnBerry555, and welcome to my review of Obi-Wan Kenobi Episode 3, which is also called Part 3. Pretty easy to keep track, I guess. But anyhow, so this is the third episode of the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. And I have to say, Obi-Wan Kenobi so far has been spectacular. All three episodes have been nailing it out of the park. Sure, this episode may, in the beginning, seem a bit slower in terms of, pacing or character development points in the other episodes, but I think that's good. This episode, the first part of it especially, slowed everything down for what was to come in the second half of the episode, which I think is a very good thing to do. Sometimes and often, to really make the hard-hitting stuff hit hard, you have to slow down in advance. So, I will say that. But that's going to end the spoiler-free section of the review. We get spoilers from here on out. So, be prepared. Be warned. So, this episode very much so. Ben, Obi-Wan, whatever you want to call him at this point. He's calling himself Ben at this point. But Ben and Leia, they make it off I forget the plane from the previous episode. But they make it off and they're on a farming plane, basically. And you can tell Obi-Wan has no hope. He doesn't trust that, the guy who managed to get them off planet successfully had arranged for them to meet somebody. And actually, we find out later, if he had just waited, the person would have come up. Granted, he probably would have been confused because that person, as we find out later, is an Imperial officer. Would be quite shocking, but basically, this person, this Imperial officer, she joined early in the Empire when it was more idealistic, I guess, less notably corrupt, and she realized pretty quickly, and she started helping Jedi escape and other people that the Empire are after. So essentially, she's working from within to undermine the Empire. Very good thing to show that sometimes that's a path people take when resisting authoritarianism. They work from within. Important to acknowledge that's a historical thing that has happened before. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. You're getting into a bit of the issue of collaboration and all that but Star Wars is giving us a glimpse into that, and I hope they show more of it, more than just the people who they did the Empire's bidding for many years, and then one thing just snapped them out of it. I like this one where, she even, I think, admitted that she did some stuff that she regrets. But it sounds like she realized pretty early on what had happened and decided the way she could best help undo was by working within to help undermine the Empire's authority. That's very much the impression I'm getting from her. And then, of course, we have, that in contrast, we have an alien who's, he's a farmer, I guess, cargo transporter or whatnot. But, Leia kind of trusts him instinctively, even though it turns out to be wrong. But very much, I think the reason why she did, because, she does have, she's essentially using Force, but she has this insight into other people, is his intentions are essentially pure. He wants order. He doesn't want chaos. And in some ways, he kind of presented as this person who's truly, he's pure of heart, he just doesn't realize how bad the Empire is. He's that kind of person who, a contrasting very much, he doesn't realize that the Empire's order is coming at the expense of people's not only freedoms, but their lives, and all that. So, very much something that, nice contrast is shown between these two characters who, based off of their station, you think would be, the alien would be supporting, people undermining the Empire, and the Imperial also would be supporting that. But no, their essentially roles in the story are reversed. Very fascinating. Also, Obi-Wan's a better shot in this episode. He has opened up himself to the Force, because in the previous episode 2, when he was finding the blaster, he had not yet reopened himself to the Force. He only did that to save Leia from falling. That's when he reopened himself to the Force. And this is after that. So of course he's going to be a better shot. He's opened himself back up to the Force. He's firing at closer range. He is in a not quite a better mindset, but he is starting to get to that better mindset. And that first step was reopening himself back up to the Force. And I really do appreciate how they're building upon not his character flaws, but his character struggles, his self-doubts and all that, and showing this story looks to be slowly undoing that and building him back up. He's been toned down over the past decade since the Empire formed, and now we are seeing in this series him starting to build himself back up. So I know a lot of you probably read the Legends Kenobi novel. I'm thinking, because Kenobi very quickly got back in the right mindset in Legends. This story, while set later than Legends, is showing Obi-Wan finally setting himself back up. And I really do appreciate that. It's a very good story technique in my opinion, and serves to make a very compelling story. And we really need to talk about the second half of the episode. First of all, Quinlan Voss, he got a name drop. That is awesome. Sure. And that's also very important for Kenobi in building himself back up. He's this well-known Jedi who is risking it all to help others. It's kind of like John's Kenobi, like, I can help and stay hidden, still protect Luke. It's like first step, not quite. I don't think Kenobi has fully realized that, but the first seed in that is there. It's being replanted. His Jedi spirit's coming back slowly, but it's coming back, and that is just amazing. And apparently somebody translated some of the other Orbish writings in that room, and apparently Caleb Doom's name on there, so Rebels connection there. So that's just another neat little thing, building the universe together, but not in a way that makes it feel small. It's just a unique way of doing it. Just a name drop here. A name drop. Those are simple. They don't do much, but they are just acknowledge that, hey, this character is this. This character was a friend of Obi-Wan Kenobi. Quinlan Voss was friends with Kenobi. Dropping that character means something to Kenobi. It's not just dropping a Jedi we're familiar with, but it's dropping a Jedi Kenobi is familiar with. And that's why it is fan service, but it's also in service of the story because it is meaning something to Kenobi. Very important distinction. And Caleb Doom and Orbish, that's fan service, but it's also an Easter egg because not everyone can translate Orbish. And even that, Caleb Doom does have a connection to Obi-Wan Kenobi. Caleb had mentioned something that helped Kenobi eventually reprogram the Return to the Jedi Temple signal to be a keep away signal. Pretty smart. But again, very subtle, that one. It doesn't really do much, but just like acknowledge that here's another Jedi survival. And in many ways, while some Star Wars fans don't want the universe to feel too small, I would say, it seems like they're going to want to limit the number of Jedi survivors to no fewer, no more, just a little bit around 100. Still, that can be kept small on purpose because it's supposed to be a small group that survived. So, just my thoughts on that. But really, we gotta talk about Vader in that. I mean, some people I saw online complaining about Vader, saying he was killing people haphazardly with no sense. Hello, he's evil, he's a bad guy, that's what bad guys do. But, in all seriousness, this is showing Vader, he's unhinged, he's a monster. He has no self-control, really. He is out there to cause chaos, to spread fear and anger. He's trying to draw Kenobi out. That's what he was more doing than anything. Sure, a lot of the dark side rage and all that playing in him killing random civilians. But more than anything, he knows if he does that, that will draw Kenobi out. And it did. So instead of going with Leia, the contact through the tunnel, he's like, I'm going to buy you time. And he does. Because of what Vader was doing, Kenobi removed himself from Leia. Then of course they'll contact the Imperial officer who's not really an Imperial, I forget her name. She turns around to go help Kenobi, leaving Leia on her own. And Leia runs into the third sister, Reva. Yeah, that's essentially captured. But I do think something's going to occur. Kenobi and probably her will go and try to rescue Leia again, of course. But I think Leia is going to have a conversation with Reva. And I think he's going to probably unconsciously, or via the Force, subconsciously, uncover essentially what's driving the third sister to do all of this. I think it's third sister, or the first, I forget her number, but yeah. Though I think Leia is going to uncover it. It might make the Inquisitors realize, oh, Leia is force sensitive. But I think it's going to end up not impacting Leia too much in terms of her placement in the story. Like, Vader won't find out about this. Because remember, the Inquisitors have a power struggle going on. The second brother very much thinks he's in line next to replace the Grand Inquisitor if the Grand Inquisitor succumbs to his wounds. We don't know if he's dead or alive, but here's the way I'm looking at it. He's not human. He got a gut wound, but humans have survived gut wounds. He's in a coma, in a Bacta tank. It's maybe his survival is up in the air, so there's going to be a power struggle between Reva and the second brother. In the end, the Grand Inquisitor is going to come back, reveal that Reva is the one who stabbed him and not Kenobi, and she's going to get struck down. That's probably what's going to happen, or something else. But what they did in the last episode was to get the Grand Inquisitor out of the story so Reva can be the main antagonist. And that's going to, I think, serve to end her role as an antagonist. She's going to be the main antagonist, but not the final antagonist. That's going to be Vader. But by setting up this conflict with the Inquisitors will mean she'll be able to be removed from the story when it's time. Maybe she'll actually get redeemed or not. But I would say this: she's definitely one of the Jedi younglings from the flashback sequence in Episode 1. Guarantee you, she's a former Jedi youngling. And that's, I think, going to play into her motivation, which I think Leia's going to uncover in the next episode. And I gotta say, Vader was brutal. I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but jumping back to Vader, Vader was brutal. Like, he literally decided he'll punch Kenobi by setting Kenobi on fire. And if it essentially wasn't for the Kenobi and Leia's contact on the planet, shooting us down a stormtrooper, he probably would have burned Kenobi to death. And that's something, though, he could have very much easily dealt with that situation and continued burning Kenobi. Which makes me think he was more toying with Kenobi. He wants Kenobi to suffer. He's maybe taking a page out of Darth Maul's playbook. Cause Kenobi to suffer rather than outright killing, feeling that might be a more suitable revenge, perhaps. But it's very interesting there, and just something I kind of wanted to touch on a little bit. But that is all I have for you in today's review. If you have any thoughts on the episode you would like to add, feel free to share them in the comment section down below. And you know the drill. Like the video if you haven't done already. Feel free to check out all the links down below. Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. Follow and subscribe on all the various platforms if you wish. You know, all the normal YouTube stuff, Patreon. You know the drill. Anyhow, thank you for watching. And as always, have a good day, a good night, wherever you are. May the Force be with you always.